Hello and welcome. Today we're building an expansive warehouse in Valheim. So the inspiration for this build is a medieval storehouse, late medieval era Europe, where these would probably be seen along docks inside cities. Essentially it has the jetties system in building where they had timber that would line the top of a stone section, and on top of that it did have an expanded room on top. So the bottom of this build is going to be in stone. On the second floor it's going to be wood, and this is really for the hoarder's delight, right? I collect everything. I force everybody I play with to collect everything. It all gets brought back, and now we have somewhere to properly store it. In our past lives, no, in our past server, we were throwing away a lot of stuff we shouldn't have, and we really didn't think about it until we needed it, and that was kind of the problem. So from the get-go, we're gonna have a decent storage system set up this time through that should really help us keep everything in a one good location. Now, I'm not saying that in our server we won't have our stuff spread out. I have storage locations at crafting stations as well, but this is going to be the main hub. So right now I'm going through and placing in that timber section I was talking about, where you have these timber rods going out that holds up the structure of it. Now, I wasn't wanting it to cut through the floor, which was an unfortunate thing that turned out to be. I don't know why I didn't think about this as I was doing it. So I do go back in here after tearing it all down. You know, it's a process, right? It's always a process. Actually, I do bump up one more layer because I realized it was too short, because I put in shelves and realized that I wanted 2 blocks shelf, 2 blocks, so I could have a chest on the ground and then a chest on the shelf, and it'd be equally spaced. But this time I'm going in and putting down the flooring first so that I can go outside and manually place the little timber pieces underneath so that they stick out. Because another thing is auto snapping, it is indeed into the floor. That means it's not also shown as easily. But we're just building up our walls and putting in the doors. So a lot of these storehouses I was talking about, they are set up like this, where you have your 2 essentially barn doors on the first floor and then 2 barn doors on the second floor. And then it's hard to like really make this system in Valheim, but above the barn doors, if the barn doors weren't tall enough, there'd be a hole that went out to an extended beam that came off the roof. It did have a pulley system attached to it, which is what I'm building right now. Now this pulley system, you know, would have a rope. It'd go back into that slot if, again, the doors weren't tall enough, and they would use that to pull up heavier crates to get them onto the second floor or off the ship or what have you. And here I'm going in manually placing those beams so that they're visible from a distance, and really helps like support that old medieval kind of building style with the jetties. I was really happy with the way this ended up turning out. It's kind of squat, but I don't really need it any bigger. For what its intended purpose is, it's actually extremely large, because I need to go back and count the chests. I think when I actually build this on the server, I'm gonna have it be a little shorter in depth, the whole building I mean, because this holds a lot of chests, and a lot more chests than we'll probably ever use. I was happy to see that these little panels are a little thinner than the walls, so when they snap, they actually snap inside the wall, so it doesn't have any kind of clipping, so that I could kind of build up a diamond shape with square items. I'm just going in now and putting in the trim options, more or less, try and make little panels. I go with a square panel system in this one. I know I usually do like a crosshatch or something, but I wanted this one to be a little bit more simple, not as, you know, elegant. So I wanted just a really simple square paneling on this one. Nothing too fancy. It is a simple warehouse after all. Yeah, you can see here I'm contemplating it, and it's like, no. I end up just going and putting in the horizontal ones and just kind of roll with that. This building doesn't need to look horribly fancy. It is indeed just a warehouse. So it's more about function than form for the most part, although we are doing a lot of things, obviously, in Valheim that wouldn't have been really function necessary. You do a lot of things in Valheim that aren't function necessary, but you do it just so it looks good. So it looks right. And by right, I mean realistic. Because you can build something horribly unrealistic in Valheim, or horribly unpolished. And here I'm trying to figure out just how far out I want my ribbing. I forgot. I left the ribbing up on this one. I didn't think I did that at first. I could have sworn, or we might see in a little bit that I might be corrected here, but I didn't realize I didn't do the double roof on this one, but I guess that makes sense because I know I didn't put a trim at the edge of the roof. So if I don't have a trim at the edge of the roof, I'm usually not so concerned about the structure ribbing poking through. And here I'm putting more of those little beams sticking out and manually placing them so that they don't snap in. A, so they don't poke through the roof, and B, so they're a lot more visible. Because again, whenever these little beams actually snap, it's kind of hard to see them from a distance. I really wanted it to like be noticeable as part of the aesthetic of the building, which is hard to place whenever it's raining and there's a fog layer on the ground. I did notice that that beam was deteriorating. I, instead of doing the short long. I did long short from the outside. I said that in a very backwards way. But in doing it that way, the diagonal beam does support the deterioration caused by rain, so it no longer degrades. And here we're starting to build in the inside. I'm coming in and putting in the shelves. The upper shelves I decorate with oddities like pots and barrels and like low-end chests, but I did test them. They support chests going in long ways, so it's more space efficient up the top, which means you can get a lot more storage up here, which is again why I'm like, I don't think I'll use all this storage personally, but it's there if I need it. And here I'm putting in just some support structures. Again, not necessary, but it gives a more polished look, a more realistic look to have actually those beams coming up. Here I'm putting in the more roofing structure that was breaking on me because I tried putting all those out at once. And this is also going to support a section for me to be able to put in lights later on. In reality, I did want to put the support structure that goes out towards the middle because it helps support the floor upstairs and the roof a little bit better visually. But I didn't like how much it cut in the camera when you're walking down there because your camera would just be popping as you went past those posts. It was really annoying. So more for gameplay, I got rid of it. And still thinking about, well, how's the floor supported? And then I remember, duh, we're doing the timber support system. I need to carry the posts from the outside in all the way through to be that support system for the floors. That's how it worked. So I did realize my own mistake and forgetting what I was doing. But luckily I remembered again. So here I'm putting in chests. I don't like using the black metal chests when I'm doing builds, but obviously if I'm playing, all of these would be the black metal chests once we got to that point in the game, because there's more storage in the black metal chests. And black metal, we usually have that for like days. There is so much black metal. The number of goblin raids, number of goblins in general you just kill, it's insane. There's no reason to not have black metal more often than not. So these would be black metal, absolutely. And here I'm going and putting in the final touches decorations. I never know where to put hanging lanterns in this game. We go in, we put a bunch of barrels everywhere, we put a bunch of chests, we put the pots, and then I stick a little cart outside because again, there would be a cart associated with this, if not a couple. There's enough room downstairs where they could sit so they're not just out and about, but I'm pretty sure I ended up putting them outside just to be more of that visual aesthetic. Now that we got the lamps up, this build is pretty much done. So from here we'll go in and I will do a visual walkthrough and kind of go over everything again. So this is our finished warehouse. You go in through the bottom, you have all of your lines of chests where you can put your general use items. Again, probably black metal chests, but for right now there is wood. Upstairs, there is more storage room. You can put in chests up here slotted long way, so there's a bunch of storage potential up at the top. But yeah, short, simple, just a nice little warehouse to store all your valuables. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as the end of this video. I'm going to be doing some more builds coming up. I'm actually going to be looking at doing some smithies. I haven't decided how I want the design yet. I'm kind of torn. I have a couple ideas floating around in my head. What I might end up doing is building two. But if there's anything that you would like to see built, if you have any ideas, or if you have anything you want to say about how I might have done this one wrong, how you've done it differently, or what you liked about it, what worked, please leave a comment down below. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.